welcome to another episode of Women Lifting Women, a podcast dedicated to female voices in leadership and tech. I'm joined today by Liz. Liz, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, hey everybody. Emma, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. My name is Liz. I work as an SVP of in-house products at SmartyAds. We are the developer of the EdTech solutions for publishers and advertisers in the EdTech ecosystem. And I'm personally responsible for SmartyAds SSP, DSP, and Ad Exchange solutions, which basically form our own internal ecosystem.
It's a lot of things you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Very impressive. A lot to do, a lot on your plate. Well, women are good at juggling. Actually leads us to the first question. First, I'll say I'm super excited to have you. I haven't seen you in a while, as we said in the beginning. Super excited to have you here. And starting off with juggling or other things women good at, what do you think is really the advantage of being a woman in your type of role?
Thank you so much for this question. Well, actually, you know that in my opinion, being a woman actually requires quite a lot of social responsibility. Mm-hmm. Whereas men are typically expected to earn money to build their careers, women are expected also to raise kids and to pay so much attention and devote so much time to their families, to look great. They're also expected to take care of their homes. And therefore, they have to balance so many things, and it makes them really amazing. However, it can be quite stressful and quite challenging for a woman, of course. But what I truly love about the edtech industry is that I think that it's really favorable for women, because we have an opportunity to see so many women occupying the managerial jobs in the best companies in the world. And we can see them on the stage, on the best and the most prominent conferences in the world. Therefore, I would say that I have been in this industry for almost 10 years already, and I never regret it, because this is very inspiring. And I truly love seeing my fellow colleagues achieving this success and being so great in their roles.
I mean, I love it. It's not very, there are very few industries where you see a lot of women at the top. And of course, it's always very inspirational to see that there are women surrounding you, and it is an open possibility. Started my career heavily in hardware, actually, and really in tech. And there was definitely this gap in women in general. So I think that you're absolutely right. This industry is specifically a bit more open, maybe some room to grow. Like everything, but a lot more open than others.
Yes, that's totally true. I just wanted to add that when I got my first job in the IT industry, when I was going to enter this sphere, I would say, many people told me well, Liz, where are you going? IT industry is actually run by men. You will not have an opportunity to get the promotion, to grow, and you don't have the technical background, because actually, by profession, I'm the technical translator. It was my high education. So I was supposed to translate different technical documents, but it's not coding or programming or anything like that. And people often told me well, Liz, where are you going? You should not go to the industry which is run by men. But in fact, I never regret it, because this is not the completely true. Mm-hmm. And if we speak about the edtech specifically, this industry is really great in terms of opportunities and in terms of the adoption of the culture of equality, I would say.
That's fantastic to hear. And it's always great to hear about how much better and how great things are as well. Rather than always hear, oh, everything is horrible, we need to just do better. So that's really fantastic news and a really positive outlook. Though I will switch and ask you about a challenge. And the reason why I like to ask more about challenges is I think that it sometimes helps people know that another person went through the same thing and they managed to overcome it. So it's more to have a shared experience. And that's under that umbrella and kind of with its caveat, do you feel have you ever experienced a really difficult or challenging team dynamics where it wasn't necessarily super easy? And how did you manage to overcome that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for this question. Well, I had such situations several times in my career, of course, but the most notable examples would be, of course, the beginning of COVID pandemics, which was a challenge for everyone, absolutely every person who was used to working from the office, hanging out a lot, visiting friends, meeting families, and so on. And then, like, immediately, everything stopped, the borders closed, and we had to stay at home, work from home, and actually get used to absolutely different dynamics. And at that point, it seemed to me like I'm quite a fast person. And at that point, for me, it seemed like the world got so slow. And of course, for me as a manager, it was quite a complicated time because I had to reorganize the processes for my team. I had to make sure that we're building them, like we're making them transparent, taking into consideration that people do not see one another, do not interact that often, do not have an opportunity to just to meet one another in the morning and drink coffee together, speaking about all the news and so on. So we had to introduce quite a lot of new processes aimed at improving the interaction, both like in a professional way. I mean, the educational events, some additional sync ups, and so on, and to promote some interpersonal communication. Like we introduced the random coffee and some other events just to help people meet each other, even if they did not previously know each other in person. I mean, if we hired someone during the COVID pandemics and so on, because I believe that social bonds like culture and connectivity are extremely important in every job. And it definitely like contributes to the growth in motivation and general interest in work. And that's why I was working a lot in building this culture and shaping it for the remote job specifics, I would say. And actually, I think that we got very good results because we had like good results for the business itself, and we had super high retention rates for the team, and therefore, like, and I was honestly, like, I was working as a cheerleader sometimes because I understood that for people it was very difficult and very stressful to stay at home all the time, and I understood that they could react in a different way. So for some of them, it's like some people are more resilient, I would say, and for them it's easier to adapt to new conditions and to get rid of this stress after a certain period of time. And some people needed more time and needed more support. And we read a lot of bad news actually about the spread of the virus around the globe and so on. And of course, we all reacted in a different way. So that's why it was a challenge for me, because I had to provide both like operational support on the one hand, and on the other hand, I had to provide some kind of emotional support to my team members, because like as usual, I'm always trying to make sure that everybody's happy about their work, that they like working as a team, and they have all the resources they need in order to perform well. So that's why it was one of the biggest challenges. And another big challenge was, of course, related to the team dynamics, but it was like opposite, because it was the point when everything was changing too quickly. It was the beginning of the war in Ukraine, because a part of my team were based in Ukraine. And of course, when the war started, like many people, like people were changing their locations. They were moving to other cities, and we had to both like help everyone who needed help, and also we had to organize work in order to make sure that we're able to provide the uninterrupted flow of all the business operations that we had. And it was like another challenge. But what I would say is that, like cooperation, connection with other people, asking for help when the help was needed, really helped me go through those challenges efficiently. And now, like looking back at that time, of course, like still we have some challenges, quite a lot of challenges, I would say, related to the war, because it's not over, unfortunately. But if I speak about the time when it started, and everything was happening so quickly and so suddenly, now I think that me and my team and everybody who stayed in Ukraine and abroad, actually, who helped their colleagues from Ukraine, we were all like champions, because we made a great job. And that's why I would say that these two examples are the most like significant and the most challenging in my career.
I mean, it is really, those are all big challenges for the world. So I can imagine that those were, COVID was unprecedented in terms of global impact. I think it impacted every single one of our lives. And of course, operational during war is always super difficult. And it's not something that most companies have to undergo, at least not in the West. And I think those are exceptional circumstances where what is expected of you as a good manager is not like, it's not always super clear. It's not, there's a lot of humanity and a lot of best judgment and a lot of, as you say, resilience and adjustability to the circumstances, which are quite hard to adjust to from the get-go. I am curious because you mentioned quite a few policies introducing during COVID. Can you tell me which one stuck? Which one was your favorite policy that you're still implementing and you still love and the team is still like using?
Yes, I would say that we're still we still did not move back to the offices. So now like people have the freedom whether they want to work from the office or whether they want to work from home or have the hybrid mode of work. That's why all those policies that we introduced, they are still relevant and we're still using them. So I honestly loved like using some collaboration tools. So now we introduced the use of Jira for almost all the operational processes rather than only the technical ones. For the task management, we're using heavily the whiteboards there. So we're making the brainstorming sessions online, like to have everyone connected, everyone on board. And in the past, when the COVID started, I don't think the Jira had those whiteboards. We used Mira boards, but they're also amazing. Now we're just moving to the same instrument to have everything all together in one space. And those brainstorming sessions actually gave quite a lot of opportunities to have our people heard. So like we made some changes, well, general to the process of making decisions. And now, like when I make strategic sessions, for instance, so I ask the team leads to have the brainstorming sessions with their teams, to gather all the ideas, to analyze all of them, to prioritize with their teams. And then they bring the results of their brainstorming sessions to the strategic session that I have in my department. And then we brainstorm everything with leads. So like I divided the team into smaller parts, just to give everyone an opportunity to express their opinion. Because when the team grows, like you have to adjust the processes and everything to make sure that everybody is able to contribute. And then really I got so many insights from the team members who are like, for example, the closest to the client, if we speak about the account managers, and they have some things in mind that actually are not that visible to supervisor from time to time, right? Because again, they're doing some things every day, and this facilitated actually this collaborative culture and our opportunity to help everyone contribute. And then another thing that I introduced is, honestly, I'm not a big fan of meetings. I don't like to have too many of them because I always keep in mind that people have to work. But we introduced some regular sync-up calls for each department, rather not just the, the tracking of what is being done for certain tasks, but also in the format of the performance meeting where everybody is able to share their own results and to present to the team. And this is also very inspirational for people, and because they're able to speak and they're able to show off and like present to their colleagues what they have achieved. And another thing that I really love is the random coffee. This is the thing that like we're making the random distribution of like the random pairing, I would say. And then people go to the meeting and then they like drink coffee all together, and it's absolutely informal. They should not speak about the work at that time, and just to see each other, to speak about their hobbies and so on and so forth. So such processes like needed for the team interaction helped a lot. Also, we introduced a lot more educational activities, also in terms of like planned webinars. We organized some online trainings and so on, again, to give them an opportunity, to give my team an opportunity to collaborate again on their own ideas, to have an opportunity for some kind of professional development, and to have the ideas like from their colleagues or from the external trainers and so on, again, to foster this collaboration, just to make sure that, well, it comes in different forms, but in fact, I'm trying to make sure that people are communicating, they see each other, one another, and they know something about their colleagues apart from just the tasks in Task Manager or the tasks that they are sharing on Slack, for example, while discussing something.
I think this is also kind of the format of this kind of like colleague to colleague mentorship, right? Because it's kind of like a way to introduce, like, not necessarily someone more senior, but a colleague to colleague level mentorship. And it's great. It's a great, I think, initiative, and love to see more of this kind of new initiative coming into organization. I think that you sound like you did a lot. I'm excited to see what else you bring to the table. And I think there's a lot to learn from the practices that you've introduced and how to manage one really complex situations and like facilitate a very strong corporate culture and company culture, even in the hardest of time. Segueing to mentorship, I was kind of curious about your own experience with mentorship and what kind of role did mentorship play maybe in your career? And if it did one had a role in your career development, and if so, what was maybe a few or something that's really stuck with you and you're still implementing in your, I don't know, career plan or your daily routine?
Yes, definitely. I believe that mentorship is extremely important because if you have the person like who is able to guide you through certain difficulties, for instance, or through certain challenges that you might face, then you are able to overcome them faster. And it can boost your confidence, actually, because this person will give you the right advice at the right time. And I have this experience in both ways. So, of course, I had colleagues, I had supervisors who were helping me and who were mentoring me at some stages in my career. And I'm also mentoring quite a few people from my team who I hired, who I had to train, and so on. So if we speak about the impact of mentorship on myself, so I would say that SmartyAds as the company played a very important role in shaping my skills and in my professional development, because this is the company that gave me an opportunity to test different approaches, to try different scenarios, and so on. So I had the freedom to make some changes to the already established processes or introduce the new ones, which in my opinion would be more more suitable at that particular point of time or in this particular situation. And actually this freedom in making decisions shaped my skills and my confidence. And I realized that I'm able to take the responsibility, and I'm still I'm responsible for everything I'm making, but I'm able to try something new rather than relying on something that was created by someone else. So it's a really amazing thing to give people freedom and to decide, and freedom to learn, and freedom to make the improvements, actually, because if you do something like in the same way all the time, then you close your path to changes and to some significant results in the future. And we work in a very fast-moving industry, so attack is changing very quickly. We have a lot of new frameworks, we have a lot of new formats, a lot of new approaches, everything is changing very quickly. Therefore, we have to adapt. And I believe that it's not possible to even succeed in this industry if you are not flexible enough. And if you are not, well, I would say if you are too bureaucratic,
Mm.
because sometimes bureaucracy is good, but to some point, but sometimes you also have to give the freedom to your people, and like you should also be free as a manager to hear them, to listen to them, and to try doing something in a different way. And when I'm mentoring people, I'm trying to have the same approach, actually. So I give them space to make their decisions. I try to support them on every step. And the main thing I'm trying to do is to boost their confidence, because in my team, like I would say that about like 60% of managerial positions are taken by the guys who work who started working in the team at like on lower positions. Like for example, a person started working as a business development manager and then grew to the head of sales, for instance.
Mm.
So this is something I'm trying to promote. And it's very important for me, again, to give my team understanding that they're amazing, that they're able to achieve a lot, and to identify their most like their strength, to identify their strength and to help them develop their strength and understand what they can contribute to the team and to the product and to the whole department. Therefore, like for me, it's extremely important to give people I'm working with the opportunity for growth.
I think that's a fantastic policy to have. One, the freedom to grow, the opportunity to grow, and also that's what keeps people motivated and loyal to the company because they feel seen and heard, and they have a future there. So I think a lot of what you've mentioned was about team development and building that culture, and I think that's something, as I hear you, is something that is probably really important to you and really at your core.
Yes, that's true. And it's of course sometimes it's more complicated, like to promote the person from inside the team to higher positions, because you have to invest a lot of time and a lot of resources to educate this person and to make sure that this person is prepared actually to do more complicated tasks. But in fact, it pays off just because you really, first of all, give an example to other people that it's possible, like to achieve more, it's possible to grow, and we're supporting you. So if you want to grow in the company, we're able to, and we're willing to give you this every opportunity actually to do this. And in fact, yes, you're right that this builds loyalty, and actually it builds a very strong team, because people know all the aspects of the product, all the aspects of their job, all the aspects of of the company really well. So I believe that it's very important to have this space for growth and to build this culture in the company.
I mean, I think that's one very, very valid, and in general, just a good policy to have and a good mindset to have of how do we grow people. And it's one of the things that you always have from the moment that you hire someone. So what is their career path within a company? If they have no future, then what? And this is not a good, I don't know, mindset in my mind, but I think that concept and that thought process is kind of also connected to my next question. So you started by saying that you really felt embraced and there's a lot of room for women within ad tech in general, and then like advertising kind of embraces women and there's a lot more women at the top. That being said, I think we're still in a position where, while there is more representation than probably other industries, I'm not sure that we're really exactly in the 50-50, especially not in the top leadership space. I don't know how you feel about it. But I'm really curious to hear your thought about maybe the role of men in creating that representation and creating that equality at the top, giving opportunities, promoting people. Like, what is the role of men in establishing that in comparison to what is our role as women?
Yes, thank you so much for this question. Well, I believe that the main thing, like organizations and men in particular occupying the top managerial positions should do, is building the culture of equality in the organizations. So basically, the performance assessment should be objective, and the processes for it should be built. So it should be based on numbers, based on something you can actually measure, rather than giving a room for some kind of subjective factors like gender or attitude or anything like that. So all the performance assessment has to be fair. And the same goes for the promotion. So it should be clear and understandable for the people working in the organization what they should do in order to climb on their career ladder, right? And of course, there should be no room for some kind of inequality or really subjective things, because like someone thinks that a man would be better on this job than a woman, because it's totally incorrect. And therefore, I think that it's a very important thing actually to have those fair and transparent practices in terms of promotion and performance assessment. And also, I think that, yes, you're absolutely right in terms of amplifying voices. So I think that women should be heard, and men should help women to promote their companies, to represent them on the conferences, the important industry events, to make sure that women are also able to share their ideas, to share their opinion, and actually to like lead other women by their example, and to demonstrate that actually you are able to contribute, your voice is important, and you have the stage. And therefore, I think that, of course, that the influence of men at the top managerial positions is very important. And there are plenty of things that we can do and the organizations can do in order to ensure that women are supported. But I think that nowadays we really can see quite a lot of improvement in this.
I'm glad to hear it. Is again, I think that we are seeing progress. I think there's just a matter of one, it's a journey. It's not something that you stop one day and like, okay, we don't need to do anything anymore. I think it will be an ongoing journey, probably for a long time, as we progress as a society in general. I think it's not like you have culture, you have so many other elements that impact that sense of equality. What we see as gender roles changes from country to country, from place to place, from there's so many, it's so complex. And I think that it's something that's one both women and men need to probably invent in order for it to become really mainstream. And I'll say that is like, because one of those things with minorities, like I think it's already mainstream that we are equal in many ways in society, but there's still, depends on where, depends on the biases, depends on the room you're in, the company you're in. There's so many things that can that can contribute to additional complexity, and it's our kind of joint responsibility to try to address them when we see that we can do better. And I think that's one motivational and really positive to hear about progress and like the steps we're already making, while also keeping in mind, okay, this is the things where we can still grow and not to be discouraged by that.
Of course, there is always the room for improvement, I would say. Of course, I would totally agree with you that this is the joint responsibility. And but answering your question, like I would say that like I'm still very happy to see this progress, and it would be great just to make sure that those practices, like we have just already mentioned, are introduced in companies around the globe, because you're totally right that a lot really may depend on the country as well. And it's like the ideal world when we have women having equal rights all around the globe.
Women have and I think rights is also like, there is the right as like almost like as law as written, and there is the right as practiced. And sometimes what is practiced is not written, and what is written is not practiced. And I think there is like both of them. So we both have the system in place, but also that culture that kind of embraces it and implement it and aspire to live by it. But that's all positive and a very bright future to think about. To finish with my last question, is one tip. If you had to select one tip that you've made you feel most empowered, and that you still implement maybe in your career, and you would recommend to other people to think and use, what would it be?
I would say that it sounds very simple, but that's not easy to do. Always believe in yourself, because actually society presents us with a lot of limiting beliefs since the early childhood, actually. So in fact, like I'm going back to the example when I was getting my first job in the IT. Yes, when people told me like, you should not go there. Better choose other industry, other job, and so on, because you will not succeed. So in fact, we should understand that these are not other people who are going to live our lives. We have to live them on our own, and our success and joy, everything depends on ourselves. And therefore, we should give it a try. If we want to do something, we should not leave this idea just because someone told us that, well, it's not the best place, it's not the best time, it's not the best industry, it's not the best job, it's too complicated, you're not clever enough, you're not good enough, you're not something enough. If you want to do something, believe in yourself, believe in your internal power, and do it. Even if you do not succeed at the first attempt, if you fail at the first time, just think of it, analyze your mistakes, and do it again if you believe that you need to have it, and if you believe that you are capable of achieving something. Because success comes with certain failures, with certain challenges, with certain problems, and so on. But definitely, what we do should not be impacted by those limiting beliefs that we will not be able to do it because of some external factors. We have a lot of power inside. That's why we should try, and we should listen to our heart and listen to ourselves, and just learn and try and retry sometimes if it's needed. So the main thing, like, I think that nowadays everything is moving so quickly that people are, especially women are very self-critical, I would say. Many women are usually very self-demanding, and they criticizing themselves. I think that the main thing women should do is every woman should be kind and supportive to themselves, as much as they're usually kind and supportive to their families, to their friends, and to everyone who are surrounding them. And they should believe in their own capabilities, their own skills, and their own success. And this belief is something that should guide them, rather than other things that could just work as distractors.
I love that. And it's a great, very positive way to end a podcast. Have one self-faith, be kinder to yourself. And that's a very famous kind of, I don't know, when you look in the mirror, think of what you'll say to your friend, or what your friend will tell you, instead of like just talking as if you're talking to yourself. We tend to be a bit too harsh. And in general, I believe failure is a great tool to learn. So fail, let yourself fail a lot, like allow yourself to fall so you can learn to get up. Even if you don't succeed in that field, it might teach you something completely different. So I think that's a wonderful advice overall. Any last thought? Anything to add?
Well, the only thing I wanted to add is thank you so much for having this podcast, because for raising these questions related to the equality, to the opportunities that women have. And I think it's very important in terms of promoting this amazing culture of giving equal opportunities to everyone, and to the minorities, to women. And I think that such initiatives as your podcasts, they really help to bring up very important topics for the society, for the whole world, for the business, for everyone. So I just wanted to add on this. I wanted to say thank you for having me here today, and for having these initiatives, because this is totally amazing.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm glad to contribute. If this reach one person, that makes them feel more empowered, at least as empowered as this podcast has made me feel, because I think I'm the one who gets the most out of it. If I'm being honest, I get to speak to a lot of really inspiring and amazing women, such as yourself. Thank you so much for joining, Liz. And this is another episode of Women Lifting Women. For the full episode and many more, go to womenliftingwomen.io. Thank you so much.
Thank you.